Hey guys, this is Ryan. I played mid for the East Chapel Hill A team. I'm going to be going over some replay analysis from my Shadow Fiend game that I played last week in the HSL series. This is the second game, and we won the first game, and this is the second game. And so yeah, let's just get right into it. I go straight for the bouncy rune and run straight to the lane right after I get it, because I want to get a salve as soon as possible, and that bouncy rune gives me just enough gold to get a salve. So as soon as I get that bouncy rune, I buy salve and bring it to me on courier. That salve is really good because it lets me heal back up to full if I get into like an early engagement with the enemy mid laner and I get really low, or if I just get harassed at a lane or something like that. So it's really good. You want to do that in like every single mid hero. Just get that salve as soon as possible. And then right after you get the salve, you want to start just laning and trying to get your bottle as fast as possible. You go bottle on like 90% of mid laners. Only exceptions are like Viper and yeah, like just some heroes that don't use as much mana in lane. But Shadow Fiend use a ton of mana in lane. You use a bunch of raises to get last hits and deal damage to the enemy mid laner. So you want to get bottle as soon as possible. If you notice, my starting items, I got that Wraith Bands because it gives me a lot of early damage since I'm an agility hero, and I got a branch to go along with that, and I also got a Fairy Fire. So the branch and the Fairy Fire are mostly for regen and sustain. So the Fairy Fire is really good when fighting and also in early engagements, because it you can like barely survive a gank or something like that if you pop that Fairy Fire at the last second and gain 75 health. It's really good. It's really good value. Oh, wait, 75 or 50? 75, yeah. It also gives you 2 damage, which is nice on Shadow Fiends, a hero with really low base damage. And that branch is really good because I only have 2 tangos, and both of them have really high cooldowns because they're shared tangos. So I can double the effectiveness of one of those tangos by using a branch on the grounds and then eating that that tree that I made with one of my tangos. Actually doubles the length of the tango effects, and yeah, I just regen up a bunch more health. So you might notice I do have shared tangos, not regular tangos, just because I don't want to be spending money on a huge, like 125 golds on something that I might not even use all 4 of those tangos. The supports gave me those tangos so that I can rush more important items like bottle and boots and whatnot. So I am against a Mirana. So right there, sorry, you saw I ate the tree with the tango, so it's gonna give me a lot of health to regen. I do believe this matchup is slightly favored for Shadow Fiend, just because Mirana has pretty bad base damage, so she's not very good at contesting the Shadow Fiend, who also has bad base damage, and it's a much more fair lane. I do notice early that this Mirana is like really aggressive and not going for CS as much as she is trying to like right click harass me. I don't see that arrow coming. Really bad play on my part. I was trying to trade with Earthshaker and possibly get a kill on him, but I just barely died of that last fissure, so even though I used a Fairy Fire and a Self. So that was pretty unfortunate. That happens all the time when you're playing mid. I'm not too worried. Because I am Shadow Fiends, and I sort of expect to get ganked and die like that. Shadow Fiend's a hero that's not great at dealing with ganks, and you focus a lot more on just getting as much CS out of the lane as you can. CS stands for creep score, by the way, and it's just a fancy term for last hits. I use it a lot. So I'm going to be just farming up a bottle. I do have 7 souls now, so I actually have pretty good damage to last hit, and it's only going to get better. I am winning in last hits against this Mirana, and later on you'll see that I get a ton more CS than this Mirana, because she focuses way too much on trying to kill me and trying to like right click harass me and deny my creeps than she should be with getting her own last hits. So sometimes you'll notice the enemy creeps will just like seemingly randomly walk at me and like just then, like, why are these creeps running at me? I'm using an aggro trick. I'm exploiting Dota 2 by every time you issue an attack commands on an enemy hero. Every time you issue an attack commands on an enemy hero, the enemy creeps, if they're close by, will be drawn to you and try to attack you. So I use that a lot to reposition the creeps in the creep wave and in my advantage. A lot of the time it's because like they're on the high grounds and I want them to be on the low grounds, or I just want them to be closer to me, stuff like that. Most of the time when I use raises, with the exception of that raise, which is just a bad raise in general, I try to use them for kills, like I'm trying to do right here. She leaps away though. I also try to use them to push out the lane. So I'm going to push out this lane and get these 2 last hits with that one raise. So I can go for the rune and refill my bottle. And I also use raises to get last hits and deal damage to the enemy at the same time. So the reason it's really important to push out the wave before you go for runes is just so that you guarantee that you don't miss any excuse me. You guarantee that you don't miss any of the creeps. So if you push out the lane, then you kill all those creeps really quickly. You guarantee that you get all the XP and gold for them, and then you go and get your bottle. And if the enemy mid laner, like this Mirana did not push out the lane, then they're just gonna miss like half of their creep wave because they're getting a rune instead and letting their creeps die to the tower. So what this Mirana should have done was Starstorm the creep wave and try to kill as many creeps as possible before going to get the rune. So I got my bottle, I got my boots. I'm gonna head towards a ring of Aquila for more mana regen and some more damage. Yeah, it was a really nice arrow actually from this Mirana, and she just barely gets this kill on me, even though my support TP'd in and tried to save me. It was a really good reaction from my support player. I actually need to start calling for help more often. I don't really do that. So I am 0-2 in this lane. And am I tilted? No. Am I buying back? No. I feel fine. I buy a raindrop and I TP back to lane. I have pretty good last hits at this point, and I didn't see this in the game, but looking back on it, I'm about to have triple this Mirana's last hits, which is really good. Means I'm doing really well in my lane. Again, you see I push out the lane and go for the rune. I did buy that raindrop instead of finishing my Aki because I had a trip back to base because I was dead, and I figured that like they keep on, trying to kill me and stuff, so might as well buy a raindrop. See, I'm playing really scared right now because I know there are a bunch of heroes mid, and I actually decided to go for these creeps on the side. I try to stack this camp, but I don't think I get it. So yeah, the raindrops are really good because they block magic damage. So if this Marana or Earthshaker try to go on me again, one of their spells are just going to be cancelled out by the raindrops, and it might help me survive. So yeah, those are good. They also give you some much needed mana regen on a hero that likes to use a bunch of spells. You might notice I really don't try to go for many kills on this Marana. Excuse me. I don't try to go for many kills on this Marana because I am a Shadow Fiend. Kills are not my strong suit. I'm much more focused on just getting a bunch of farm and lane and a bunch of XP. And yeah, so since I don't have any stuns or disables or whatever, or very good mobility, I just mainly tend to focus on farm. So you saw there I popped an Invis rune and seemingly wasted it. So I did waste it, sort of. Like I was just saying, on Shadow Fiend you really don't want to be that aggressive. So going along with that, you don't really want to go to rotate on other lanes like you would with like a Puck or a Queen of Pain, who are very mobile heroes with disables. On Shadow Fiend, you would rather just just sit in lane, farm stacks like I'm doing here, and just get a bunch of farm. So yeah, that Invis rune I just didn't even care about. I just popped it. I just got rid of it because I wanted to pick up the regen rune and save it for a later time. So yeah, don't use runes as soon as you get them when you have a bottle, because the whole point of the whole point of using runes with bottle is lets you use runes whenever you want. Once you bottle them, you don't need to use it right away like you would if you don't have a bottle. So if I were like a Puck or a Queen of Pain, I would probably still save that Invis rune for a time where I wanted to gank another lane, where I felt like there was a good opportunity for that. Hopefully I will make another video on a hero where that's more of a factor, where you want to roam on other lanes more. But for this video, which is just about to end, as nothing much really happens in the next like 3 minutes. I'm kind of just sitting here and farming like a Shadow Fiend should be doing. Yeah, I get a Yules. I get a Yules because it's just really good item on Shadow Fiends in general. Gives you a lot of mana regen. Allows you to set up for your ults, which I do like 2 minutes after I get it. But you could go for another item, like possibly go for treads. I decided not to go for treads this game because I just felt like I didn't really need them. I was just not really fighting this Marana that much. She just played really back a lot of the time. Yeah, so you could go for treads. You could go for excuse me. You could go for Shadow Blade. You could go for Dragonlance. You could go for a bunch of different items. But I like Yules a lot, and I felt like it was pretty good this game. So yeah, Shadow Fiend's one of my favorite heroes, if not my favorite hero. If you didn't know that. And yeah, that's my replay analysis of this game. I never once rotated to another lane, and instead I'm just trying to push this tower. So yeah, avoid the misconception that mids always have to gank, like some people in pubs tell you. If you're playing a hero like Shadow Fiends, that is definitely not true. You would much rather just sit in lane and get CS. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I will bring you another video next week. Bye.